Step number 6 is to create a preliminary candidate list, and I'll extend this. The real step is to develop the skill of learning how to grow a candidate list that stays in front of you. You see, it's a simple activity for you right now as a brand new person to open the workbook up, go to step number 6, look at the memory jogger, and create a candidate list. That's an activity. Anyone can do it. But now I want you to, in your mind's eye, paint yourself ahead 6 months. Isn't it logical that you would have made the easy calls? In the book, it describes those as the low-hanging fruit. There are a group of people who love you. There are a group of people who will look at our business not because they're interested in the business, but because they love you. It's easy. Anybody can do it. But now, put yourself down the road 6 months. Is it not logical that you would have made all of those easiest phone calls? Who shall we call 6 months from now? Who shall we call 5 years from now? You know, one of the hallmarks of my success in this industry is for years and years and years and years, year after year, I was among the most prolific recruiters in the industry. I found my way to MonaVie in August of 2008 and reconnected with my lifetime, literally boyhood friends of Dallin and Randy Larson, made a decision to become involved with MonaVie, and in a very short period of time became a Black Diamond. And in that period of time, less than a year, I personally enrolled over 240 people. How can that be? I've been in the industry for 20 years. How could I possibly have someone left to call? It's because I had learned there's a difference in the simple activity of writing down a list of names and the skill of so living our lives so that our candidate list stays in front of us in terms of quantity and quality. Here at step number 6 in the creation of a preliminary candidate list, I would simply like you to quantify who would you like to launch your business with? Who is it? Let's make this real easy. What if today you were opening any other kind of a business? What if today you were opening a little coffee shop in your town? Who are the people you would invite to the grand opening? Who are the people you would invite over to that very first day? Who would you want to be there? Your friends, your family, your business associates. And by the way, one of the critiques I hear about this industry is I hear people say, oh my gosh, am I going to have to call my friends and family? Well, folks, think it through. Do you really want to do business with your enemies? I mean, I'm hoping you don't have any enemies, but who do we do business with? Who do we interact with? We interact with people who are our friends or who become our friends. At least that's the way that I do it. I don't have associations that stay outside of that. If I stay in association with anyone for any period of time, we become friends. Certainly, some relationships are more intimate than others, but I become friends. Otherwise, the association ceases to exist. I'm a friend with my attorney. I'm a friend with my accountant. I'm a friend with the person who cleans my home. I am a friend with the person who takes care of my yard. I am a friend with the person who is the service manager at the auto dealership that I attend. I do business with friends. People I do business with become friends. The two become one and the same for me. And again, there's a certain degree of appropriate intimacy or lack thereof depending on the nature of the relationship. And I'm hoping so much that you know what I'm referring to when I talk about an appropriate business intimacy. We all understand. I don't need to clarify that further for you, I hope. And so, step number 6 is to begin by creating a preliminary candidate list. And as you look in the workbook, it describes your candidate tree, and there we can easily identify the low-hanging fruit. People who know you, trust you, and respect you. People who love you. That's the easiest ones. And then if you look up higher into the tree, at step number 7, we're going to begin a transition. We're going to show you how to reach that fruit that is out of reach as you stand on the ground. That'll be when we teach you how to develop an inviting skill. Ultimately, done correctly, once one has mastered that art, it'll be like you've got a cherry picker and you get clear to the top. It'll be like you've got special glasses and you can see deep into the foliage of the tree. Ultimately, your candidate tree will look like mine. It'll look like the world. You'll realize that you have something that people want. People want what you have once you've developed the skills required to really succeed in the business. And the candidate tree then becomes literally immeasurable. It becomes immense. You cannot run out of candidates once you fully embrace that principle. Once you've really brought to bear the activities required to develop the skills, you develop the character attributes, your candidate list becomes innumerable. But today, at step number 6, simply go to the pages in the workbook, put pen to paper, do a quick review of the memory jogger, and today, during this session, before you put the book down for the day, let it be that there be 50 names on your candidate list. Let there be 50 names on the candidate list. Let it include people that know you, trust you, and respect you, and people that you know, trust, and respect. Let it be people who, in your mind's eye, would change the way that your success trajectory looks. If this person joined me, he or she would be an extraordinary positive contributor. Let the list include people who are of your same socioeconomic background and those who are not. Let it include people who are of your same cultural environment and those who are not. You know, one day, as I was beginning the transition between knowing how to create a list one time and developing a candidate list that grew in front of me forever, a friend and a peer in the industry said, Randy, do you want your business to keep looking like you or do you want it to look like the world? And I said, what do you mean? He said, look at your list, Randy. They're all about the same age as you. They all have about the same background. They all have somewhat similar lifestyles. He said, what about if your business looked like the world instead? He said, you're a Caucasian, Randy. I don't see any Latinos on the list. You're a Caucasian, Randy. I don't see any African Americans on the list. I see no Chinese Americans or Korean Americans. Your business looks like you. How different it would be, he said, if your business looked like the world. And so I set about that process of starting to build a candidate list that looked like the world. And before I knew it, my business looked like the world. And before I knew it, didn't know it was going to occur, I discovered that I had been not born with, but that I had developed over the course of my life certain attitudes about people that were wrong. And I found out when I started developing a business of various different cultures and backgrounds and heritages and races and religious experiences that so many of the attitudes that I had, call it what they are, they were wrong and they were bigoted. You'd never have convinced me of that before I set out on this process that I had any such attitudes. I did. When I started working with people of various cultures, backgrounds, creeds, religions, races, I discovered that there was a beauty contained therein that had completely evaded my vision. Well, we're at step number 6. Let's not make this too complicated. Put pen to paper. Identify 50 people. Do so having used the memory jogger. We'll start with a simple skill. Write down a list of names. Over the course of the next several years, over the next long time, I'm hoping that we engage you in a process that goes on and on and on and grows you and adds more and more value to your life. As you engage fully in the MVP community, you will learn how to not simply engage in an activity of writing down a list of names, but to so live your life so that your candidate list grows in front of you in terms of quantity and quality.